From the roads you drive on to the water in your glass and the lights in your home, that's Monroe. Running a city of 40,000 people takes a lot of work. In each episode of Monroe Living, Our City at Work, we're taking you behind the scenes to meet the people making it happen. Along the way, you'll discover more about the parks, events, and neighbors that make Monroe shine. Welcome to Monroe Living, Our City at Work. Welcome, everyone. We've had two great podcasts covering the Winchester Revitalization efforts that are going on, and today we continue that theme. We have Assistant City Manager Jeff Wells, who oversees a lot of those planning activities, as well as Teresa Campo. And Teresa is now the Director of the Office of Economic Development, but before, she was our Special Projects Manager, who also coordinated a lot of the Winchester activities. So thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy this. And I'd like to start out with asking each of you, what brought you to the city of Monroe, and when was that? And I'll start with you, Jeff.
Thank you, Lisa. Good morning, and thank you for having us here today. So I've been with the city now for almost 1 year, since November of 2024. And what brought me here was the opportunity that it presented. The people that were here that I had some familiarity with, the opportunity to work with people that I really respect, and also the growth that is happening in Monroe. High growth communities really attract me. The opportunities that they provide for planning and project implementation has always been a high attraction to me. And here in Monroe, there is growth opportunity for decades to come. I really like long-term visioning. I love long-term planning, and most importantly, I love implementing those visions and plans.
Sounds great. We love all those things too, so we're glad you're here. What about you, Teresa?
Well, my name is, like you said, Teresa Campo, and so I'm a community planner. And what brought me here to Monroe is it had all the things that needed for revitalization. So when I was recruited to form the Community Development Division, of course, I went and toured all the areas, and Winchester was one of those areas. And of course, you're downtown. And at that time, the characteristics of Monroe's downtown was a lot like Wilmington's downtown back in the early 1990s. So what I saw here was a place that could build community, revitalization, and build sustainable practices. In addition to that, my next to the oldest sister lived in this community. This was where she chose to live and raise her child. And this is also, unfortunately, where she died. So I really had a connection to this city to say, we can make something great here.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's a great story, Teresa. Thank you for sharing that. Jeff, will you let us know a little bit about this project? What is the Winchester Revitalization Project? What is the plan?
Well, so the project is really a vision and a plan for catalyst of redevelopment, revitalization of the community. And it encompasses a city-owned tract of land. It's actually multiple parcels. So the plan is to develop a hub for community activity, a hub for business that will attract not only people from the immediate community, but also people from outside of the community.
Jeff, there are many components to it. I know that Winchester is sort of a large complex. We've got the Community Development Center out there. There's a lot of history related to the train tracks that's there. So what are the different components moving forward for the revitalization?
Yeah, so there are several different aspects to the plan. One aspect is a master plan for the primary redevelopment area, which I would call is the south side of Winchester Avenue. It's a triangular area there, and that's where the business development would be. Some small type of manufacturing is envisioned there, as well as a lot of the community space. It's envisioned as a historical trail along with some type of open space and other amenities that could be enjoyed. Now you branch out a little farther from that, and we're also looking to have some greenway connectivity from other parts of the city. There is already connectivity that is not far away that we can connect into at Kreft Park. So we would like to bring a greenway in from there. And then we also have visions for making a loop trail. You could basically envision it being mainly around the perimeter of the Winchester community. And then another big hope of mine is to provide some type of connectivity back to downtown like the neighborhood historically had. To me, that's really one of the most important aspects of this plan, is to revive the ability to quickly and easily access downtown from that community, not only by vehicle, but really more importantly by pedestrian access.
Could Jeff, you talk a little bit about the planning process and the visioning process that is going on right now?
Yeah, absolutely. For really, the last 5 months, which I'll also put a plug in that really excites me. We've accomplished more in the last 5 months really than we have in the last several years. We have the right team in place now, I think, with the right vision and the right motivation to move this forward. And so, to that point, we have been working with a consultant, Land Design. They've got decades and decades of experience in land use planning, redevelopment planning, master planning of sites. So they're on board now as our consultant. They have been working, and I'm actually excited to say too that they will be expanding our scope of services with them moving forward. So far, they've been doing, I would say, more of preliminary work, basically gathering information. We had a community meeting back in April, and they've taken the results of that, as well as the results of a walkabout that we did back in July, to basically put together, I would say, some preliminary information, gathering some data, actually identifying a lot of existing features out there that could be incorporated into landmarks within the master plan itself. The components moving forward are going to be additional public input. In the fall will be a heavy time for public input. I would envision us being out there at the community center 2 or 3 times, inviting the public to participate in looking at maps, looking at design options, and really envisioning what the different phases of that plan could be, which right now the concept plan is for phase 1 to be a historical trail along Winchester Avenue. So that's the first phase. And the second phase would be building the commercial hub there just south of Winchester Avenue. And the initial vision of that is for some small type manufacturing as well as business incubation, trying to encourage folks that can develop and grow their business there, and also be a hub for people to come and buy things. Imagine getting coffee there, small retail shops, things like that, opportunities for the community to come and engage in the area. From that community input, Land Design will be able to develop that initial master plan, and that would be the grand vision, the grand concept for the community there. And from that, we can take those pieces really in whatever order that we want to, and then develop the design and engineering for that we can then take that out to public-private partnership would be one option. Could be that the city wants to do the initial development of it, or the city could sell a portion or all of it to some other entity through some developer type of agreement to then get what the desired effect is. So those are all the exciting options that we have to move the plan forward.
It is very exciting. I mean, we are generating a lot of interest just talking about it right now, and there's been a committee involved all along the way, the Winchester Committee that was put together last year. I think it was one of the mayor's committees. And can you talk about their involvement, Teresa, and what all they've been doing along with y'all?
I believe the involvement would be best suited as a steering committee at this point. It's been very inclusive in regards to the input. It's been very active with the, I believe we have 2 council and 1 mayor and several members from the community that serve on that committee, along with the staff liaison, which I am, and all of the manager's team, of course. The committee's been very active to be able to push forward. I think that would be the best way to do it. They're able to push forward the initiatives and help rally support in the community, which is what we really needed. And so that has been really great. It's also helped to spark interest from beyond our community, which is which has really been exciting. Young people have been excited about this project, and we, under the city manager's website, we now have a place where people can go and find out information about the ongoing effort that we're having there. So I encourage people to do that. So I think that's best said, very active with the mayor pro tem, and with Councilwoman Thompson. Mm-hmm. And but more so the community members. And even for the legislative body, they're sitting back and being part of the team. So I believe bringing that forward, the best part of it is being able to show the community that the city is truly engaged to bring this effort forward. And as I had said earlier, 2005, there was a committee, and then it just kind of waylaid, and then another committee formed in 2017 as a subcommittee. But to have the mayor's recognition on this committee has really elevated it to a point where we're going to be able to reach out and get those public-private partnerships, which we've already seen come forward with South Piedmont, NC Works, and just an interest of historians especially. They are very critical to this project, and it's just an exciting time, and it's good for this community. Beyond building a community place and revitalizing that whole area, it is a brownfield site. So we are also doing something that's sustainable and will be long running, and shows what this city under this manager is trying to bring forward.
Certainly it's going to be an economic development project, and y'all's involvement has helped move this along, it sounds like, in a way that was never really able to be done before. So with this first phase of the historical walk, how do you envision this path being, and what type of history are we going to be highlighting on this historical trail, or are we that far along with it yet?
Do you want me to take it?
Well, I could talk about the vision for the path, and maybe you could take the history part of it. But the path will be some options, and I think we've seen that a little bit already from land design. But what I anticipate their plan to be is to show some visual concepts in the fall to the community that comes out. One example would be the trail being strictly along Winchester Avenue. So you could kind of envision that as a wider sidewalk and pedestrian trail with different facilities and features along it. Another version of that would be it would have some frontage along the street there, but then perhaps dip down into the property and into the central area of the property and connect to that central feature conceptually now. As we've seen so far, would be where the roundhouse and the turntable used to be located. So that would be another option, and perhaps land design will have another option or two that could be reviewed and could be commented by the public as well. So that's really the fun part is the options are usually endless. And it's really just picking the right, and there's really no wrong answer either. It's just picking the right one that the community really gets behind.
Regarding the turntable and the roundhouse, do you want to talk a little bit about the history of that, Teresa?
I do want to hit on that trail just a
Okay.
moment. So we will be looking to do a recognition of Winchester as a cultural district. That will be a local destination, a local designation for that. But part of that journey on that trail will be, we've been recording what I want to call folklore and testimonies from people that grew up in that community. And they were not scripted. They're just storytelling about things that they remember about the community. And it is our hope along that trail to have either some sort of feature that'll be vetted, whether it's a QR code or have old records maybe playing in the center, but some way to keep those testimonies alive and those stories rich. And so some of them we've already lost in regards to members, but we do have recordings of them on different interviews and things that we are going to try to incorporate that in. We've had some interest from students that attend Chapel Hill and UNC Chapel Hill that are helping us to kind of dig through that. So that's really exciting for that. In regards to the turntable, and the railroad, that you would not have thought that young people would have taken such a deep interest in the fact of a railroad and what we have here. But we are really seeing a resurgence of the younger population in what was in the past. And when we discovered some of the Sanborn maps with the actual round table, where you could see those diagrams there, you would have thought it would have been from my generation saying, oh, yes, this is great, good, tell the story, but it wasn't. Young people were excited when we were running those prints. They wanted copies of them. They wanted to hear about this, and it is going to be a great discovery. We have not uncovered it at this point because it has to be, because of the fact that it is an environmental site, we have to do it very strategically. And so as we uncover that, what we do know is that it is our belief that there's the original swing bridge that they used for the round table, which, in case the listeners don't know, that was just a place underground where they serviced the engines. And at this particular site, there were steam engines, and it would be our hope. We found some artifacts on the site. Most of them are very deteriorated, but we're retaining them. But it would be our hope that maybe we can find something that originated there.
Absolutely. Thank you for that history. Jeff, what about residential? Is that included at all in this new development revitalization project?
No, the vision is primarily for non-residential business development. Think small-time manufacturing, retail, boutique shops, coffee, some office-type uses, perhaps people that are wanting to start up their business. Those type of uses. So definitely smaller type business and very small manufacturing.
Mm-hmm. And that community in general has a lot of housing around there already outside of this development project. You had talked about a connection to the downtown. How do you envision that? What kind of connection would we be looking at? What are some options there?
So there used to be a street that actually overpassed the railroad into downtown. If you go out there now on the west side of the redevelopment area, you can still see the abutment there. So that wouldn't necessarily be the location of choice, but somewhere in that area, it makes sense to have another connection point. I don't really envision that to be a vehicular connection, but it'll be interesting to see what our consultants come up with as ideas and possibilities. I envision it to be more of a pedestrian connection. Mm-hmm. And one probably is realistic, though I'd love to have more than one connection point. But I can't stress enough how important that is. And I feel that was one of the big reasons why that community just really is in need of revitalization now, because it was cut off from the downtown for whatever reason that was back in the day. Having that ability to reestablish that connectivity, I think, brings a whole lot of opportunity there to that community. It brings the opportunity for those folks to realistically access downtown. And as our downtown continues to develop and grow, it'll allow folks that live, work, and play there to also quickly access Winchester. Think about it. If that community hub area becomes a great gathering space, we're sitting right here at City Hall at lunchtime, we could walk there in 5 minutes. We could grab a nice lunch. We could grab a cup of coffee. You could have meetings over there with some contractor or some type of consultant that now is doing business with the city. There's really a lot of opportunities there, and that's really how you grow business, you grow community, and you continue to grow the neighborhood, and it benefits the city as a whole.
Public-private partnership, and the city has a big investment there already and is putting more money into it. And I think it's very exciting about a pedestrian bridge that does create a destination for people to want to go and walk their dog, walk in the evenings, and to be able to connect to a point where there's something to go to. That is very exciting. What else do we need to know about this project, Teresa?
Community involvement. The more, the better. So it is a whole community. It's much more holistic than just centered in Winchester. Most of the people that were from Winchester are now aging out, and so the younger generation, we need them involved. So if you're interested in this project, if you have an interest in history, if you have an interest in outreach, and if you have skills or just want to volunteer, we have areas to do that. We do have housing there, but it is housing, many of it is needed of repair. And there are places in the community that have all those areas of need of revitalization. We have infill housing mostly at that site, and some dilapidated structures. But we also have great high-end market rate apartments that have come in at the edge of Winchester. So that's what I want the city as a whole to know, that what matters in Winchester impacts the whole city. And it's not just a focus on Winchester, it's a focus on an area that contained all the 7 needs of revitalization, which includes economic vitality. So that's what's important. So that's what I want the community to know, is that it's our project. It's inclusive of all people, and it in fact impacts the whole city. And whether it is in a state of need of revitalization, or it is now built to a sustainable community place that has benefited from revitalization.
Absolutely. It's a very exciting project. Jeff, any parting words on the project?
This is all about placemaking. That's really what it's all about, and that's what makes it so exciting. Having a vision that the community can get behind, and then implementing it, is something that really motivates me, and I am looking forward to the continued process of seeing this project come to fruition.
Me too. It's been a fun project to be a part of.
And you've been part of it.
Even the day that we went out and spent 3 hours walking around and getting a history lesson, that was very exciting, and we learned a lot that day. I think it was about 105, but we survived
115 heat index, it felt like.
Yes. I want to thank you for joining me today and giving us all the information on this revitalization project. We're going to be watching it. I'd like to have you back so that we can talk about the progress of it, especially this first piece of the historical trail. So thank you to Jeff Wells and Teresa Campo again for being here. on this episode of Monroe Living, Our City at Work. There's a lot of excitement about this, and stay with us and more to come.